my friends, and welcome to the Loop of Horror. I'm Count Dracula, and this is our chilling true story. Enjoy your macabre and filthy ravings. As I finish putting these corpses together, we'll see if I can resurrect one.
Before we begin, we remind you that we upload new and monstrous videos every Tuesday night. Subscribe and activate the bell so you can get caught in this loop of horror.
Most of us have heard of outhouses, these rudimentary toilets that people who lived in new area used to have where there was no drainage service. In fact, they can still be found in camps and other places far from cities. For an example, on farms that have not been modernized. Anyway, let me tell you that these outhouses can be quite macabre, especially at night. After all, it is a deep black hole filled with smelly dirt. And these, my friends, are the perfect conditions to house evil creatures. Precisely, it is one of these places where two terrifying events unfolded that I'm going to tell you next. Get uncomfortable and turn off the lights because this is the story of the thing of the outhouse.
In the 70s, Uncle Canute lived in a small wooden house located on a large piece of land, and of course, with a small outhouse in the back, a few meters from his house. In those years, in the city of Tijuana, Mexico, the living city of Uncle Canute, there was not much lighting in some neighborhoods near the river that, at that time, still exists. And the night environment used to get a little creepy. The fog that was generated at dawn due to the proximity of the water complete a gloomy and desolate landscape. That night, Uncle Canute went to the outhouse. He remembers not turning on the light, because the low moonlight was enough, at least for him. Having finished, he took the toilet paper, and without having the opportunity to tear off the first batch of paper, he could feel how someone or something was wiping below. Panic appeared on his face, his skin stood on end, and his breathing stopped for 2 seconds before reacting and running away. It was so shocking that he jumped out with his pants still down. His face had an expression of terror, amazement, and disbelief all at once. Uncle Canute says he felt his drunkenness instantly subside. He entered his house, and his wife, seeing him pale, semi-naked, and in that state of panic, asked him in fear that what had happened. And he told her how a thing had cleaned him after using the bathroom. There was simply no way that something or someone was hidden in the latrine, because they are so deep and open that it was not possible that an animal or person could be there, near Uncle Canute's butt, ready to clean it. He never used the outhouse at night again.
Maybe it's funny to you, and perhaps it is easy to think Uncle Canute's dark experience was only the result of the effect of alcohol. But 3 months later, they would have the confirmation that the living thing in the outhouse was real.
Uncle Canute used the outhouse just shortly before sunset. However, at those hours, and despite the light that was still outside, when closing the bathroom door, the darkness in that small room could not be avoided, with visibility barely enough to realize that in the inside door was a very peculiar drawing. Observing carefully, Uncle Canute realized that the figure was moving and that it was becoming somewhat humanoid. Gradually, as he saw it, he began to make out a man with dark hair and a twisted mustache. He thought that they were undoubtedly devil's whiskers. He stared as the smiling drawing laughed mockingly. Uncle Canute was in shock for a few seconds, but when his fearful body finally reacted, he plucked up his courage and decided to ram the door with all his strength to desperately run towards his house. Pale and with a broken voice, he told his sons what had happened. Immediately, they went to the outhouse and checked the door, but there was nothing there. The older son, on the verge of judging his insane father, was paralyzed, just like his incredulous brothers, when they heard a laugh that faded towards the bottom of the latrine. They were never able to explain what had happened in that place.
The imagination of the devil is incredible, don't you think? Nowadays, people have modern bathrooms that saves them from being exposed to the dirt and bad vibes that all a mess can cause. But do not rule out that one day the devil, immersed in his boredom, decides to get creative, finding a way to visit you in your toilet.
If something like this happened to you, do not hesitate to send us your experience to our email, theloopofhorror@gmail.com, with the subject, my horrific experience, and we will insufferably show it on our channel. Like this video to prevent the night beast from bothering and visiting you, and subscribe, activate the bell for creepier and twisted content brought from the bowels of the beyond. Remember that you can find unique content, information about our next videos, bases for our bizarre contest, and much more on our social media, found in the description. Do not hesitate and let yourself be caught by our loop of horror.
Last but not least, I ask you to be polite and don't forget to say thank you if the thing decides to strip your smelly miseries. After all, not everyone will be able to clean you after using the bathroom.